Hello everyone, this is Paula, and yes, I'm back today, but this is temporary. I just want to let you guys know, I've had several people contact me, that I'm just taking a break from my journal making, and I'm going to be making some other kinds of things, and I'll be on and off depending on what I'm doing. And I needed some relaxation, and that is what I'm doing. I'm actually going to be doing a journal, and it's the collaboration with Rachel from Roxy Creations and her sister Sarah, and several other women, I guess, that are involved. I know there's a lot of beginners from what I hear, and that's wonderful. I mean, that's just great. And I was so excited to see that she was doing this project, and I have enjoyed it so much. So I've gone from one page size to another page size to this page size, back and forth. I started with a small book, then it was too small, then I went up a size, and now I think it might be a little big. So who knows what I'll end up doing. But this week, Rachel pulled out of the purses or pockets or whatever it was she pulled suggestions from, and it was vintage lace and bouncing bunnies. Well, it didn't have to be a bouncing bunny, but I don't know of a bunny that doesn't bounce, right? So that is our first things to focus on for the month of January. Now, prior to that, we were doing a title page, which, you know, this whole thing is just so you know, for Instagram and so forth, you can put hashtag Roxy's Journal of Stitchery. And that's where you can post your photos and pictures of your projects as you go along, or wait until the end. I kind of am waiting till the end of each project to do that, but everyone's different. It's your book. Make it your book. Do what your heart desires. Okay, but most of all, just relax. I am just relaxing with this, and it has been so much fun. I have embroidered and did slow stitch. Slow stitch is kind of new to me, but the embroidery part of it, my mom taught me when I was a little girl, around 10 or 11. I remember it clearly. And we didn't have the array of different stitches as we have now, but I will tell you, I loved it then, and I would do it off and on, never often enough that I felt like I was an expert. I'm by no means an expert in stitching. I just enjoy it and have fun, and it relaxes me. And that is what I need right now. So I'm going to be coming on and off here, showing you my each design I do, and whatever else I need to tell you. So for right now, I'm going to show you what I've got done so far. And I've got my title page, which is right here. Now, if you visualize this in a book, okay, because see, it has muslin. I'm using muslin in between my pages and to put my pages on. And whether or not I embellish inside the pages on the extra muslin, I don't know. I'm just going to play it by ear, step by step, and not get in a hurry. And although I will tell you, it was less than 2 weeks ago that Rachel and Sarah got us started with the bunny and the vintage lace. Well, you know, I sat down and I got so hooked on doing it that I really covered every bit of my page. So first, I'm going to show you this real quick. This is my, I'll come up a little closer. This is my title page, and I just changed it from Roxy's Journal of Stitchery to Paula's, because this particular book is going to be mine. And so I just went crazy. If you notice, you can see stitches everywhere. I'm like, okay, I need to eventually get finished with this. So I made sure I was finished before we started page 1. So this is my title page. And I am putting it on Instagram and Facebook, so you can be watching for that. And so I'm going to turn in to page 2, which is my sample page, sample of stitches. Now I have one more I'm not finished with that I'll be putting in here, but just so you know, this is only one there right now, and I'll have a second one. Okay, so as you can see, I put page 1 right in here, nice and neat. This is my, let me see if you can see it really well. This is my page 1, and as you can see, if you zoom in, you can see the very little details, which is the slow stitch. I went crazy. I made my bunny out of 2 yo-yos, okay? I made the bunny's ears out of vintage lace. And I added this little bow on. This is the back of the bunny. So I added this little bow to cover the hole in the yo-yo and to let you see the back of the bunny's little head. And here is, I don't remember these stitches. I don't have them written down, but this is one of the ones that you do loops, and you can do pom-poms and whatever. So I did that inside the yo-yo where it's opened. And I thought, that looks like a bunny to me, so that's my bunny. Now, he's not hopping right now, but he will if he needs to. So I just cut a part of a doily here. You can see, I just cut this part off and just used that as my trim. And I decided at that point, I had found this. I have bought a lot of vintage fabric, first of all, start with that. And sometimes you just get a little tiny piece. Sometimes you can get a yard, but mostly you don't get the big giant pieces. So I had this one little piece of fabric that had florals. And you can see right here, that's it, right there. That's how big it was. Like, it literally ended right in these areas. And I just put it on this left side. No, I had no idea what I was going to do with it, but I wanted to use it. This is my vintage lace right up here, and you might say that doesn't look vintage. Well, it is. I bought it from a lady that sells only vintage, and so it is. As a matter of fact, there was stains on the other portion. I had 6 of these. So what I did is I just stitched inside each little petal. And this is not the ones that you get at Joann's. This is a different one. So as you can see right here, I just cut the edge on this side off of a doily right here. And then I laid the blue toward the inside. And then I did the stitch where you go under and over, under and over. I started out to do that, but then I decided to just go under with the pink. And then I slow stitched, or not slow stitched. I did a running stitch down this side. And there's a running stitch around the whole outside of the inside of the lace of the doily. Okay, that business is over. I had these 4 little white flowers down here. Came from this, they were hanging on the ends of a doily, an old doily that I had. Again, some of them were stained, some of them weren't. So they're still connected to each other. So there 4 of them worked. I usually like to do odd numbers, so that was hard for me. But I went ahead and put all 4, and then I used some variegated yellow and orange thread, and I did 3 big French knots, and then I stitched around the center, just, you know, in and out of the center. Okay, so I went around each of these flowers with a split stitch, and I knew right away I wasn't going to do satin stitch on them unless they're tiny, because, you know, it would have, what's the point of having my cute little fabric on here, right? So I just went around the outsides, and then I went, or anything that was printed on the flower got backstitched. Not backstitched, split stitch. And then I went back and did the inside of the flowers. You know, I don't know what all these are called, you guys. I'm sorry. But anyway, the little stick and the little berry looking thing on the inside of flowers. So I don't know what it's called. I didn't bring my book up here, or my page up here that tells you all this. But anyway, it's where you do the French knot and you pull the string, or you pull the thread and then put the French knot down, and you have that look of a French knot on the end of a thread. Okay, now I did all that, and then I did daisy stitches on these little tiny flowers that were on the fabric. There's like 3 pink and 3 green. And so I filled in all of those daisy stitches so they wouldn't be empty. I thought it would look better. And I filled in some of the small little leaves also. What you might not notice, or it might be all you can see, I did the background in slow stitch, random, like, I say random, but I actually did it over the whole back. And in between all of the flowers and around the bunny and everything, I did slow stitch. I did the straight up and down, try to keep it as straight as you can. I did the little crosses, and then I did the little tiny seeds. And I did some of this way as well. I did where the two little seeds are next to each other. And then I flipped it around, did it all. But anyway, there's all different kinds of slow stitch all over this, okay? And in between most everything, unless it was too small to stitch in between. I did not stitch slow stitch in and under this group of flowers I did. So I decided I wanted to do that Y. I think it's a fly stitch, where it's like the Y with the stick. You see, this is what I mean. I don't remember my stitches. I can do them, but I can't remember them. And sometimes I can't do them. So I did I twisted around my needle 9 times and did the French knots randomly. And then here there's some of the Lazy Daisy, where you whip it around. I did different kinds of leaves. I made up some of my own too, and I just went in and added, like here I just added these 3, they look like little daisies kind of, and then just the buds from that flower. And I'm looking to see if there's anything I have forgot to show you. So I'm going to bring it up a little closer and let you see what's going on in the top half. Now this is, all my stitches are very tiny. All my slow stitches are very small. So they're not as a, big deal as some of the stitches would be. I wanted them tiny because I wanted to fill it in as much as possible. Listen, it makes my page twice as heavy and twice as flat. And I like that. I don't like it when the fabric gets all wavy in between stitches. That bugs me. Kind of like, you can see it a little bit on this. See how it's waving? And I don't like that any more than necessary. And on this one, if you notice, there was a flower on this doily, and I decided just to satin stitch around the outside of the flower. Before you know it, I'm doing the leaves, and yeah, that's how it's gone. But this is vintage lace here along the edge. Here I had quite a bit of it, so I jumped in and grabbed it. And I used some sequins, lots of French knots, and just all kinds of things. Like I did my flowers with French knots and straight stitch, you know, whip stitch, all that has been done. Okay, so I'm very proud of my first page. I love pastel. First of all, I got to tell you, I love browns, earth tones, but I also love pastels. And so you'll probably see all kinds of colors in my book. So I have an idea for my cover. I don't know yet because I'm just trying to decide. I decided to go with a 2-inch spine because I wanted to add as many as I wanted to down the road if I make more than 6. So this is a slow stitch patchwork that I did to make a journal. And I just loved it, and I could never make a journal out of it. I was wanting to keep it somehow. So this is how I'm going to do it. I hope I can keep it because, you know, it's only so big. And this book is pretty good size. So I'm not really worried about everything being perfect. Like I probably will blanket stitch around the outside of this so that it kind of covers up some of the little batting and stuff. So this will show you how bad or how much I slow stitched on this. If I can get it to come apart, I'll just show you a few of them. But see, you can see behind the stitches. That's how the whole back of this looks. So I love doing the little teeny tiny seed stitch. And I mean, this is more like a flea, okay? It's so tiny. And then I put different things that I've got collected over time on my book. And then I have some appliques and different things, a doily, and just something unique, this square. So if I decide to use this, I want to go ahead and just wrap it all the way around. See? And all the way around to the back. But then, as you notice, there's not enough fabric to cover this big book. So I had this fabric to put inside of this when I finally put it together. So I just ripped it in half, added some batting, and it's going to attach just under this. I will trim everything to fit. And then where this little spot right here goes, where it kind of matches, I don't want that. I want it to be separate. So I got some of my little snippet roll that I made a long time ago, and I'll be adding more to it because it's not got a whole lot. But I'm going to add this snippet row, possibly right here, to kind of cover up that separation. So that is my plan so far for my book. I just kind of covered it in canvas, and then I just kind of put some music sheet on the inside, which I wouldn't want to keep there, but I just did it to cover up the old book that was bright colors. Okay, so that is my how my journal is hopefully going to look. Now, I just want to show you one more thing. Over the Christmas holidays, and actually prior to that, I had watched Rachel and Sarah, I think, did this as well. I'm not positive. On Rachel's Creations, I saw, or Roxy Creations, I want to call it Rachel. I've been watching Rachel since forever, it seems like, and I love watching her show. Okay, she had made a house, just a house, and I made a house to represent my home, and for 2021. So here is the back, and I just used this doily as like a tree skirt. Did a couple different ravelly fabrics, and used this was my background paper with these little flowers and these little strips. And so I just used those like posts, because I have big posts on my house. Then I added these stars, wooden buttons right there, and put the date right there in stitching. And then here's the front of my stitched house. I put an angel up here, an angel charm, which I loved, and had this coming down as snow. But I made a mistake, because after I put my ceiling on, I wanted this snow up here to kind of connect to this, and I wasn't obviously using my noggin because it didn't connect. I could still go back and add some, and I might. But I have double doors in the front of my house, and I have big pillars. And so I made my little double doors with the oval glass. And I put a window here with the Christmas tree, even though that's not the window the tree's in. Added some little garland and another star right there. And just various fabrics. Now, that is the front and the back. Now I'm going to show you the sides of the house. One of the traditions in our family is to have stockings every year. The very first year Rick and I were married, I made him and I both stockings. And they're all faded and worn out big time now. And so I decided, I didn't have room for 11, so I just decided we would do just the 5 grandkids on the side of the house. But I put stockings on the side of my house. And these are packages. And these represent each of my grandkids. And look, the letter B for Bynum. Put a star up here and some buttons just to decorate the pages. And stitched here, did a split stitch to kind of represent a bow, and then did this little ribbon for bow here. I just thought it turned out cute. And on the other end, a lot of people were doing wreaths. And so I did a wreath as well, but I wanted it to be different. So I just came up with my own leaf. I just drew a little circle with a pencil, and then I just started making leaves around it. Then I took these little applique flowers that are red. You can get them in all different colors. And I put those in there, or on there, to represent poinsettias. And then I stitched yellow for the center. Added a little checkered bow and completed my little house. And on the inside is a piece of cardboard down here. And the rest of it's just batting, like you'd fill a pillow with. And I love it. I'm sorry. I just love it. And this really got me started back to stitching in this style. And I mean, I cross stitch and so forth, but this style is something I really love. So I wanted to come in and show you today's, or I finished month 1, January, and I'm so ready to find out what the next one is. But instead, I'll work on this cover because I have some stuff to do on it, and on a snippet row, and that will keep me busy. And I've enjoyed just watching movies and relaxing in my living room in my chair stitching. And so now I have another new love. And I'm not going to completely quit my channel. but it's not going to, I might make an occasional journal, or ephemera, or whatever, you know, or I might paint something, or make a card, or make an attaché, or any of that kind of stuff, you know. There's a lot of other artworks that I do, a lot of different things, and I try different things, so, and I create my own albums and stuff like that, and sometimes I buy kits to do albums, and I can show you some of those as time goes by. So, I'm going to let you go. I just want you to know that I also will be coming on here to show you new items I put in my Etsy shop. And right now there's not a whole lot in there because I've sewed quite a bit of it, but go check out what's in there. It's on sale and it's a great deal. And be watching my Etsy shop for new items. All right, guys. I have missed you guys. I'm glad to have gotten to talk with you today. And I will see you when I come back by. Bye now.